Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to another transformation with tarot. We are going to learn tarot. And I'm going to take you guys through different lessons, the way that I learned tarot, and hopefully it can help you guys a little bit too. So if you are new to my channel, I would love it if you would hit subscribe. I do make new pick-a-cards, and I am doing this Learn Tarot series that will be going on over the next few months. So we'd love to have you. So today we are going to be talking about the Major Arcana. And what's interesting with this is a lot of people struggle with the Major Arcana, and I understand that it seems very intimidating. So I want to teach you guys a way how to read the Major Arcana that is quick, and so you understand and know where you are at. And the way that I'm going to do that is through the art of storytelling. For me personally, this has been the easiest way. I can pull a card and I can know exactly where I'm at because I look at it like a story, what chapter I am in a story. The Major Arcana is actually the Fool's Journey or the Hero's Journey, if you guys have heard of it before, and it kind of goes in it in depth. I've heard of it before where they break it down into 3 or 4 parts, so this is like the in-depth Fool's Journey or Hero's Journey. And actually a lot of literature, a lot of movies, a lot of great texts actually use this method of storytelling. Movies like Spider-Man, The Matrix, and Harry Potter and Star Wars all use this same sort of style too. This kind of backbone to how they tell their story. And once you start watching these movies and understand how this work, or how the Fool's Journey goes, the Hero's Journey goes, you're going to be able to be like, oh, the Hermit, this is this part of the movie, or the Chariot, that's this part of the movie. And that's kind of how I started to identify with things to help me understand the Major Arcana a little bit better. The Major Arcana are the first 22 cards in the tarot deck. These cards represent karmic influences and major life lessons we are all faced with. They are typically looked at as unchangeable events, although I've seen where they can change. So through studying the Major Arcana, you can actually learn how the universe works. The word arcana actually means secrets or mysteries. They're also called the trumps or triumphs. So these 22 cards are major mysteries that we learn throughout life. Each card represents a different initiation into human consciousness as it expands into enlightenment or oneness. Studying each of the cards gives us a blueprint to understand how life and consciousness actually works. So I think that's really awesome, you guys. You can go so in depth with these cards, and I really encourage you guys to do that. And maybe what I like to do, and I suggested this in my last video, is pick a card every single day, meditate on it, look at it, journal it, and really just try to pull all the information and how you connect and relate to that card. That'll really give you more insight with it, and so you're able to connect with it very quickly. These 22 cards tell the story of the journey of life in its entirety, from the unknowing optimistic fool through his ups and downs, who becomes the hero of his own life and enlightened creator. Each card actually represents a part of his journey. So when we put all of these 22 cards together from start to finish, we see the whole picture of life and the obstacles and lessons we must learn in order to transcend. We can use the Major Arcana as a way to understand where we are on our path. So now we are going to go through the Hero's Journey so you can understand how this layout and story works, and I have them from start to finish here. So we will be starting with the Fool. So we begin our journey, the Fool's Journey, the Hero's Journey, with the Fool, card number 0. The Fool always represents opportunity, optimism. This is when you are excited about life, you're offered something, and you're really not looking at what is necessarily negative about the situation. You're just so excited for the opportunity that you're ready to go. You're ready to pack, you're ready to get on the road and get out of whatever situation you had been in and start moving forward. The next card that we have is the Magician. And the Magician is being offered. Okay, so we had the Fool, he's excited about life. And the Magician is about, okay, I'm being offered all these things. I can see all these opportunities that the world has right in front of me. And that's why he has all the suits in front of him, is because he can see everything the world has to offer at this moment. And he can really make a choice about what he wants to do. He's learning, he's growing, he's still very, very excited. The Magician to me represents you can manifest anything. So this is still a time that is things aren't settled, are set in stone, you are still making a decision and you're still really excited about the opportunities that you have. But you're definitely starting to narrow things down a little bit more than when you were the Fool. The next card that we have is the High Priestess. And so I look at these, we're telling the story about this right now. So if we were telling the story of the Fool, of the person, he would be meeting the High Priestess. But I also look at this as the Magician and the High Priestess are the masculine and feminine sides of our mind. And the High Priestess represents wisdom and secrets and really learning more things about the world. So if this was the Magician here, he would be learning the secrets of the world. Things may not be looking so bright and optimistic. He's starting to learn some new truths about things, and he's starting to question things too. So yes, the High Priestess, if you get this card, it's all about secrets and mysteries. And a lot of times it can mean that somebody has a secret or knows a secret in the situation, depending on what other cards you pull. But in our story here, we're talking about how the Fool has met the High Priestess, and she is so wise, and she is telling him things about the world here. And he's starting to really learn and grow consciously at this time. So our next card is the Empress. And so with our story here, the Magician has met the High Priestess, like what we were just talking about, and now the Empress has become pregnant. So it's the masculine and feminine that have come together to create a child. A lot of times the Empress talks about having a child, fertility. It's also creativity. If we look at this as masculine and feminine parts of our mind, then this would be birthing a new idea here. But yes, this is all about abundance, fertility, creativity, and this is a very physical card to me. It's like you're starting to see things grow and develop in the real world. So our next card in our journey is the Emperor here. And so this is, the Emperor. We started with the Fool, and the Fool, he didn't know too much. He was just really excited here. But then we come into the Emperor. He's really stepping into his own. He's starting to take dominion of things and starting to become more in power. The Emperor often talks about buying real estate or buying land, things like that. And it's associated with the number 4. This is the 4th card in the Major Arcana. And this is all about creating that sturdy foundation and becoming an authority. You might also be dealing with authority figures with the Emperor too. So our next card is card number 5, which is the Hierophant. And so the Hierophant is the church. It is these big institutions. This is even schools and things like that. And so in our story here, the Fool, has become the Emperor, and he's starting to meet bigger organizations. The Fool is starting to, start to communicate with the church. And whenever I see this card, it is about orthodox or original, this is about more orthodox beliefs. This is about, traditional beliefs. So the church to me in this story is kind of pushing their beliefs on the Emperor, on the Fool, and saying, this is how we do things. Kind of like, okay, we collect taxes. If you own this land, you have to bring us these taxes, and we want to put this building up, those sort of things. And the Emperor at this point is going, okay, I'll listen to you. You guys seem to know what you're doing. So in the next part of our story, we have the Lovers. And the Lovers is when we have the High Priestess and the Magician that we saw earlier. They have fell in love, they've had a child, they have land now because, the Emperor had the land. He's starting to have that dominion over things. He's becoming in control. Now he wants to come together with the High Priestess. This is all about love. This is all about union. This is about relationships here. And this is just really, an exciting time in the Fool's life. He's really getting his stuff together. And like I said, he's falling in love here. Our next card is the Chariot. This is card number 7. And so, when you fall in love, you meet somebody, you have a house now, you might have a family also, but things start moving very quickly and you're very excited about it too. So the Chariot is about things coming together quickly, but as you can see, we have the black and white Sphinx on the front of here. This is about having to make decisions. This is about having to, while you're moving quickly ahead of yourself, having to make the right decisions. And this is where you're going to see things start to kind of, almost fall apart. Because I feel like in this story, the fool has made a decision, one that he thought was right based off of his past experiences, but we'll see how it unfolds as we move forward. The next card that we have is the Strength card. So this is all about, we've been really excited, life is moving very quickly, you felt very strong, you've been the Emperor here, the Fool is the Emperor. The Strength card is about gathering that inner strength, learning how to control the beast within. To me, I feel like something has kind of gone on in the Fool's life that has made him kind of question, like, should I be this way or should I be more balanced? This is a time of really more contemplation, but it's really, he's gathering himself together. He's trying to learn to have more control over himself. The next card is the Hermit. And a lot of people are very familiar with the Hermit card, but this card is kind of a turning point to me. This is when he starts to question himself. He starts to question his beliefs. He's going, is this the person I really am? Are these beliefs true? Do I really want to be this way? And so the Hermit, goes within and he withdraws from the world, and all he has here is this star, which is just some hope and his own inner light here that is guiding him. So the Hermit is a turning point to me. This is when he really starts to question himself. The Hermit to me is really like this dark night of the soul, and it's really questioning everything that is around you. So our next card is truly the turning point, and that is the Wheel of Fortune. So this card is really cool to me. This is the card number 10, which always represents a change. Things are about to change. But the Wheel of Fortune actually represents destiny and even past lives. So this is like everything that has happened in his life so far is coming to this point. But it's coming to a point where it has to change because he wasn't really on his soul path, his destiny. So everything is about to change. And we just had the Hermit where he was questioning everything. But now the wheels of fate are in motion and he is being turned into a new direction in order to, expand his own consciousness, in order to enlighten him. So the next card that we have is Justice. So the Justice card is pretty interesting. This, in the story of the Fool, is when he's actually gotten in trouble. So he was second guessing everything. He wasn't sure about his life. And now we see that he did make a bad decision, like I said, maybe around the chariot here. And now the church is actually coming after him. They're going, you're in trouble, you made the wrong decision, here we are. And justice is very much about karma. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad karma, but it is about having to repay your debt to society here, and about balancing things out too. So next we have the Hangman. And the Hangman is the actual time he is serving after he got in trouble with the Justice card with the church. So he's taking his time here, his time out, and he's upside down. And I love this card because it really always talks about how are we looking at something? Are we seeing the whole perspective here? And this is when usually we're pointed to look at something from a different perspective, and we might be blinded to it. But the Fool here is seeing things from a new perspective. He's seeing how the world really works now. He's starting to become really enlightened here, and that's why he's illuminated behind his head. So this is a really good card, but a lot of times it will bring postponements and delays and things like that when you pull this card. The next card that we have is the Death card. And so the Death card, I heard this the other day and I thought it was the perfect way to explain it. So many of you that already do read tarot, the Death card does not mean actual death. Okay, it's more of, to me, a death of ego, a death of thoughts, and I heard it put that it's a putrefaction of old thoughts. So those old thoughts no longer serve you. So the Fool has gone through this journey. He's really starting to become enlightened and aware, and really seeing that the world around him has kind of told him lies, and the path that he was going on, he doesn't really like anymore. He doesn't like the beliefs and ideas that he has anymore. So this is the death to those, like I said, beliefs or even ego. The next card that we have is Temperance, which is considered the healing angel. So the healing angel here is coming through, and we've just gone through serving of sentence and going through basically imprisonment, or really torture with the hangman here. But then also we're learning so much. We're shedding old beliefs and ideas, and we're really just healing. Now, temperance, really, it means the heating and cooling of metals. So it's going through this time of heating that fire, and then also cooling back off. To me, temperance is about really starting to see the path that you had to go on. You're really starting to understand more. But like I said, it is more of a healing card that you are starting to learn to balance your life back out. The next card that we have is the Devil card. Okay, so this part, it's kind of interesting because we just went through death too. But now we're starting to see the devil here. And the devil to me is the shadow side. This is really facing the shadow. So we started to heal with the temperance card. Now we're really starting to see the devil inside of us, the shadow side of this. This has to do a lot of times with materialism, even addictions, and unhealthy habits here. So anything like that has been going on in the Fool's life, he's starting to see how attached he is to him. So maybe there was an addiction that he had throughout this time that he's really starting to see how it's wearing him down. That shadow side of him that is not good for him. So that is what the Devil card means. It also means suppression. So this could mean that the Fool has realized how suppressed he has been, and now he's ready to, let go of this. Our next card that we have is the Tower card. So, we went through the devil here. We're realizing that we're suppressed, we're addicted, we're not able to actually be free. We also went through the death card, the death of beliefs and egos. So now the Fool, all those thoughts, all the things that he believed, his whole kingdom that he built, the world that he had built is now crumbling down. And the Tower card to me is about building a false foundation that can't stand up to the truth. So it does fall down. So, many times when you get the Tower card, that something sudden is about to happen. But followed by the Tower card, our next card is the Star card, which is all about hope, having new ideas. So that's the beautiful thing about the process of life, the cycles of life, the ups and downs, is many times when we get to that dark space, we have to get to the dark space. We have to get to the devil, the tower, those shadow sides in order to really see the light. It really helps us to open up to see new opportunities. And that's what the star is. It's really a card related to Aquarius, that innovative and new ideas, those sort of things. But the Star card is really about having hope. So right now in the story, the Fool is really beginning to see things differently. He's beginning to see that there's hope in something else, that this darkness is starting to really fade away. Our next card that we have is the Moon. So, we are going through, like I said, this ups and downs. The Star card, the Fool had a lot of hope, but the Moon is also about seeing the world as an illusion, making sure that you know that things around you are illusions, that, to not go back into that Devil card where you are obsessed with material things is the way I think about it, to make sure that you are still connected to spirit. This is also about questioning things around you. So the Fool is really questioning his reality still, and really still staying in tune with spirit. So our next card that we have is the Sun. So we went through the Moon. That was like the dark night again, that sadness, this really questioning things. But, just this is how life works. Life goes back and forth. It's a balance of scales. I really call it like a pendulum of things where we're constantly going back and forth from good to bad to up to down, from dark to light. So we were just in the dark with the Moon card. Now we are in the Sun, and he has reached this pinnacle, and the Sun really is the ultimate happiness. This is it. I have reached the pinnacle in my life, and really I'm just so happy and excited about things here. Our next card is the Judgment card. And so this card is really about wrapping up the process. So we've looked at everything, we've gone back and forth. We really see things for as they are now, and we're starting to feel good about ourselves. And Judgment is about, making that final call. what are we going to do here? It is also about karma again. It's about whatever we just did over this last cycle is coming together, is coming out, or we are reaping what we are sowing here at this point, no matter what we think. So this is just the end of it. Whatever we did, we are getting here. This is Judgment Day. And then we have the World card. And this is the unification of everything. So the whole story, everything that we just went through, this is the unification, the integration of every single bit of it. This is all about perfection. So the Fool has gone from the Fool and now he is integrated into perfection, back into the universe. He understands all mysteries, I feel like here. This is the end of the cycle, which I think is interesting because nothing is ever truly the end, and we can actually expect a new beginning here. This is all about coming together, rejoicing, success, achievements. Everything is just really good. This is fulfillment of what you have always wanted here whenever you do get this card. So this is the Fool's Journey, you guys. And what I would like you guys to do is take the cards and this is what I did. This is just a suggestion, but you take a card every single day and you really try to apply it to your life. You can look at different situations in your life, past situations, and kind of see how the events unfolded and try to apply a card to each of these events in order, kind of like a story. And that way you can relate to them more. I like to do that. I like to relate the cards to my personal life. I feel like it's easier to connect with them that way and to help others to connect with them that way. But do remember also that the cards, you may come up with different meanings for them. Whenever you look at a card, you ask your guides, you ask yourself what the meaning is. So don't just take, my word for it. This is kind of a base for learning these things. But because there's been many a times that I've been reading cards and I don't get the same thing that, everybody else would get. And so that's okay. Intuitively, whatever comes to you is what you need to know about that card. So make sure that you stay open to that too. Like I said, this is kind of just a base. This gives you a reference for some of these cards here. Yes, like I said, I think it's easier to learn them as a story like that. So you guys, you will have to let me know if you liked this video, if it was helpful for you. If you did, then please leave a like and a comment below. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Be blessed.